الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وأصحابه وسلم وبعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alhamdulillah, we are grateful to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We seek the blessings and the mercy of Allah upon our noble Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, upon his household, upon his companions, and all those that are following the guidance of Nabiyyuna Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam till the last day. So today being the 20th day of Ramadan, 1445 years after the hijrah of our noble Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from Mecca to Medina, which is equivalent to the 31st day of the month of March 2024, our Christian era. We'll continue bi'idhnillahi ta'ala as usual with the commentary of on Suratu-Yusuf, which we actually started and which we are used to on every Saturday and Sunday of the week. So before proceeding with the commentary, I'd like to remind myself and every one of us that we are approaching the commencement of the last 10 nights and days of Ramadan, which are special days. So it is enjoyed that each and every one of us is expected, or in fact should, double up, as it is said. So whatever act of ibadah we have been doing before now, especially in the month of Ramadan, we are expected, to increase the rate at which we do those different acts of ibadah in line with Sunnah. So we are expected to, be more sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all those acts of ibadah, and we are expected to also do more. So why we expect a reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we try our possible best to also search for the night of majesty, Laylatul Qadr. And searching for it means that we are expected to engage in as many acts of ibadah as possible in these last 10 nights of Ramadan, and especially in the odd nights. So starting from the coming night, which is the 21st night of the month of Ramadan. So, and of which the reference is always with the place where we live here. We do not have to compare it to other places, even if we are not originally from this country. So we are expected to seek a lot of istighfar from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also supplicate as much as we can. So of course the popular prayer that is known, which is the one reported from our great mother Umm Aisha radiyallahu anha. So when she asked the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the kind of prayer that should be said if she witnessed the month of the night of majesty, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam informed her that she should say, Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عني. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that forgive, is the one that overlooks shortcoming, and Allah loves to overlook shortcoming, and that Allah should overlook our shortcomings. So we are expected to say this dua and even many other dua. Also, this night it is expected that we try as much as possible, to participate in Qiyamul al-Layl. So, be it in congregation or even individually, if we cannot make it in congregation, as it is not like it's compulsory to do it in congregation, although it may be better to do it in congregation, because if we do it in congregation, there is a very high probability that we'll be able to do it better and even more than the way we are going to do it if we have to do it individually. So, however, that does not rule out the fact that we can also do it individually if we cannot make it in congregation, as long as it is not like it's compulsory or automatically or completely legislated that it must be done in congregation. However, even if we are doing it individually, we have to do it well, and irrespective of the time, of the night when we are doing it, because this is also a point to note. Like many a times, once we are approaching the last 10 nights of Ramadan, sometimes people believe that it is sunnah to shift the time of Qiyamul Layl to the later part of the night, as against the earlier part of the night that we are used to before that time. So, and not just believing that it is sunnah to do it as well, but as if doing it at the earlier part is not sunnah. So that's the point. So it is as much as sunnah to do it at the later part as is as much as sunnah to do it at the earlier part. So even though in terms of virtues, we can say that of later part, is better because of the virtues, embedded at that particular period. Not only in the month of Ramadan, even in other months. But then that does not rule out the fact that even if we do it at the earlier part, still it is Qiyamul Layl, it is Qiyam Ramadan. So, and in fact, like the case of the Night of Majesty, so even if one do it immediately after Aisha, so still one will have met, and fulfilled the condition of the Night of Majesty, because it is the whole night, and all the blessings will be descended until it is the time of Fajr. So it is not just like it is at the later part, also at the earlier part. So for those that we prefer to do it at the later part, that does not mean that at the earlier part we can do whatever we like. We can misbehave at the earlier part. So at the later part is the Laylatul Qadr. No. And so for those that will do it at the earlier part, it does not mean that at the later part we can do whatever we like. It's only at the earlier part. The whole night completely is filled with a lot of blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah assist every one of us. So and also it is highly encouraged that we take note, because sometimes, because after observing the Tarawih or Tahajjud at the time, we try to fix some other congregational activities, and that prevents us from a lot of different other acts of ibadah that we are supposed to engage in. So this should not be such a way that we have ourselves in fives, possibly because we are cooking together, we have to eat together, then and that time will now be used for just normal discussion, as we do most of the time. So that will not be of any benefit to us. This is not to say that we cannot eat together as we used to do, or sit together, cook together, do whatever we want to do together. But then we should value that particular time. Even if we have to do things together, then we should do things that will be of benefit to us at the particular time, not things that will not be of benefit to us, even if they will not bring any harm to us. May Allah assist us. And also, I will also want to remind us with respect to the recitation of the Quran, that if we are reciting Quran, so recitation has to do with movement of lips. So we should ensure that sometimes we just look at it and we think we are reading. So that's not recitation. So whenever we are reciting, the lips have to be moving. So it is very, very important. May Allah assist us. So yesterday we stopped at the verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, is telling us about Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and that was after when it was obvious to the master that the wife was actually the one that tried to seduce Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the one that prevented Nabiullah alayhi salatu wasalam Yusuf from the evil act and even from the indecency, where Allah is saying وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ. So verily she was actually determined to commit the offense, the atrocity, the indecency with Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and so she made advancement to Nabiullah Yusuf. So she made advancement to Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and Allah said wahamma biha. So and Nabiullah Yusuf as well would have made advancements to her also. So reciprocating what she did. Laula an ra'a burhan rabbi, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the one that indeed shown him his evidence, not to do that. And kadhalika linasrifa anhu su. So where Allah is saying that was how we prevented evil, for him. We prevented him against evil, wal fahsha, and atrocity or indecency. Innahu min ibadina al-mukhlasin, and verily he was among our choosing servants. So after all the events, it was obvious to the master that she actually tried to plot against Yusuf, when it was obvious that the situation has unfolded. So as a result, she tried to narrate a false scenario of the situation, and also judged her case by herself, even rewarding Yusuf with the punishment, a wrong punishment based on the wrong judgment, based on the wrong narration of the situation. So the husband, who happened to be the master of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, told Yusuf that Yusuf read and hada. So you just turn away from this. So just forget about this. Keep mute. You don't need to bother yourself about this. So just forget about it and don't disclose it to people. Keep it within yourself. I understand what happened. وَاسْتَغْفِرِي لِذَنْبِكِ, and for you, woman, seek forgiveness from your Lord, for indeed you were actually wrong. So seek forgiveness from your Lord. إِنَّكِ كُنْتِ مِنَ الْخَاطِئِينَ, for verily you were in error, you did wrong. So based on your narration, it's clear, and especially because of the kind of evidence that was provided by the witness, that if the cloth was tore from the front, then she was truthful, and the Yusuf was from among the liars, and if otherwise, she was a liar, and the Yusuf alayhi salam was from among the truthful ones. So then the husband instructed Yusuf to forget about it, and also to keep it secret, not to disclose it to people. As we said yesterday, when you attain some level of honor in the society, when you attain a particular status in the society, so it will be a kind of a disgrace, an embarrassment for people to be hearing some certain things, from your household. You wouldn't want people to know about it, even though ordinary people, they may not care about it. So, but if it is not an ordinary person, then people will care. For example, like an atrocity of theft, for instance. If someone from unknown family will steal something, of course, still people will deal with him. In fact, it is possible that people will make jungle justice against such individual also, but then people will not care as much as they will care, if the case is from a renowned family. So, for instance, they say the son of president, goes to market and they steal. The whole newspaper will take that as their headline. So, but if it is just someone from just an ordinary family, who cares? The only thing is the jungle justice, the one that is affected. But hardly will you see it in any newspaper, because even if they mention his name, who recognize their family? The family of Okolo is not known anywhere. So, so, not even known in Oyo, let alone in other places. So that was the case, because the master Al Aziz was an honorable person. He tried to instruct Yusuf to keep it secret, not to disclose it to people. But then he failed. He failed to punish the wife, to deal with the wife that actually wronged Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam in trying to seduce him. And as a result, she did not leave that act. She kept, seducing, as it will be indicated in the subsequent verses. Of course, we have recited the other verses yesterday, so we wouldn't take the recitation again. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَقَالَ نِسْوَةٌ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ. Then some group of women in the city, they said, so some group of women in the city said, Imra'atul Aziz turawidu fataha an nafsi. So that's actually the wife of, the Al-Aziz. So like a minister, we can say a minister, maybe like the minister of finance, or, a very honorable person in the city is that Al-Aziz. So the wife of the minister, for instance, let's suppose that's a minister, as many people will interpret it. So turawidu fataha an nafsi. So actually seduced the young man, that's Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, who happened to be a slave boy in their home. So the wife of the Aziz was actually trying to seduce that young man, so against the wish of the young man. So that's one very important thing that we should take note here. When someone is committing evil secretly, and you think it is secret, if you fail to seek forgiveness of your Lord and you persist in committing that evil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expose that evil to people. Despite the fact that Al-Aziz warned Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam not to disclose it to people, it was not mentioned anywhere that Yusuf disclosed it to people. And Yusuf was even a Nabiullah, would not have been disclosing it to people. In fact, he was not even having access to people. He was not having access to people. How will he disclose it to people? So, and that was not an era of social media. That's, and even if it was an era of social media, a slave, will he be having access to that? A slave will not be having access to that. But then it was not an era of social media. So there was no way he could have disclosed it to people. But then, because she persisted, obviously, in the act, so it was made known to people. It was exposed. Allah exposed, that particular evil, such that people were aware that that was what was going on in the home. So the women, this is the situation of women gossiping. So waqala niswatun, so some group of women said that is nothing but gossiping. They started gossiping about the wife of that minister, Al-Aziz, that Imra'atu Al-Aziz, the wife of the minister. So Turawidu Fataha An-Nafsi was the one that actually was trying to seduce, the young man, the slave boy, against the wish of that slave boy. They started gossiping, her. And when people started gossiping, and it's become a public knowledge in such a way that even the one they are gossiping about also knows about it. If the person is having a way of defending himself, he will try all possible best to defend himself against the gossip. That was exactly what the wife also did, as we are going to see in the subsequent verse. So Allah said,
قد
قد شغفها حبا, that the women, they said, Allah is reporting them now, they said that she was actually, like you say, someone was intoxicated out of lust, that she has been engrossed with lust of that young slave boy. So, and that was why she was trying to seduce him. Then inna la naroha, we saw this wife of Al-Aziz, we saw her in a clear error. We saw her in a clear astray. She was actually astray. How could a wife of Aziz be seducing a slave boy? But because she was completely intoxicated in lust of Yusuf, so we saw her in a great error. This is an act of gossip. Usually when people are gossiping, they will say exactly things that happen, and even additional.
They add extra.
So they will have to put extra. Usually the information about people when it comes to gossip will not just be 100%. It will be 100% in one way, then they will try to add some other additional percentage to make it like 105, 120, 150, some other things that did not happen. People will speculate even that this happened. So that was exactly what happened, and this is an admonition to women, as they will also see in the subsequent verses, that gossiping is not something that is permissible. We are not expected to be doing this. So it will go into an act of backbiting or slandering if care is not taken. So in that case, you don't join other women in gossiping. And the problem with most women is the way we are here, all men. It's easy to control our mouth when it comes to talking about others. But once it is women, usually, not all the time, but usually, before they discuss something, in about 10-15 minutes, then it will bring about, gossiping another one, even unknowingly to them. And that is why it is always encouraged that whenever we are in congregation, both men and women, we should keep reminding ourselves about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that we will not fall into, error of gossiping. So when they did this, the wife of the Aziz, who also has, some reasons to defend herself, felt like she had to defend herself. And so that happened in the next verse. فَلَمَّا سَمِعَتْ بِمَكْرِهِنَّ. So when she heard about their, gossiping, about what, they were saying about her, the other women, what they were saying about her, so أَرْسَلَتْ إِلَيْهِنَّ. Then she sent to them, she invited them, that okay, I'm going to teach you a lesson. I will let you understand what you don't know. You accuse me wrongly. You think I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, you are going to see what led me to what I did. And in fact, you are going to learn in the hard way. You're going to learn in the hard way. So then, وَأَعْتَدْ لَهُنْ مُتَّكَأً. So she prepared for them a banquet. She prepared for them a banquet. Like, you invite people that, okay, please come to my home. You come and relax, come and have some tea party, come and have some, So they also went, because they had to honor the invitation. So when they went to her home, when they got there, she prepared them with a very nice banquet.
وَآتَتْ كُلَّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهُنَّ
And she gave, knife to everyone among them, that you take this knife, you have fruits, you have apple, you have orange, you have watermelon, you have this, you have that, you take knife because you have to cut. So you have the knife to serve yourself. Each and every one of them was having a knife with her.
وَقَالَتْ
Then she said to Nabiullah Yusuf, ukhruj alayhin. Go out to them. Just go out to them. You know, Yusuf was a slave. He was not having option. He had to obey because that was the mistress instructing her. So Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam also, went out to them. Falamma ra'aynahu. When they saw Nabiullah Yusuf, akbarnahu. So they were astonished, they were surprised, they were stunned that which kind of person is this? It was never their expectation. And that will even inform us of the fact that it was not actually Yusuf that exposed the situation. Because I didn't mean he was the one that exposed the situation. That means he would have been going out before. And people might have been seeing him. So, but the exclamation here, the way they were surprised here, shows that they have not been seeing him like that. So when they saw him, they were, surprised. Like, which kind of person is this? And, out of, astonishment, and they cut their hands. Each of them cut their respective, each of them cut her respective hands. Because they were holding knife. Each one was holding a knife. And when you see something, you just imagine how something will surprise you to the extent of, cutting your finger, for instance, out of, unknowingly, you are not even aware that this is what you are doing. Of course, you are holding the finger, the knife to cut food, but because you see something that surprised you and you cut your finger, imagine that kind of handsomeness in Nabiullah Yusuf, alayhi salatu wasalam, because he was so handsome. He was so handsome that you can't compare his handsomeness to any other man in this world. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that when he saw Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam in during the journey of Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, that it was as if he was giving 50%, half of the beauty of the entire world. Imagine that level of handsomeness. So as a result of that, the women cut their respective hands unknowingly, and what they have to say is, they said, oh, like the way we say today, when we see something that surprises us, all of us, we say, subhanallah. We exclaim, we say, which kind of person is this? Oh, Allah is great. Exclamation. That is this a human being? Which kind of human being is this? This cannot be a human. This can never be a human. In hadha, this would definitely be illa malakun kareem. This cannot be a man, except that this would be a respected angel. This must be an angel, not just an angel, a respected one. That was exactly what the wife of Al-Aziz wanted. Exactly what she wanted happened. She wanted to show them that if you see what I see, you know that my situation does not deserve to be gossiped. But because you don't know about it, that's why you did what you did. So now for you, even one time, you have only seen him one time and you have cut your respective hands. What if you are seeing him every day? What if you are seeing him every day? This is what I live with. This is what I live with. So sometimes we judge people wrongly. In fact, many a times we judge people wrongly because we are not in their situation. So that is why each and every one of us, whenever we want to judge people, we first of all put ourselves in the situation of that person. So just cross the line and go to the position of that person. Then imagine you being in the same situation. Then you can now judge yourself. Then that will give you an instance of how the person should be judged. But because you think you were wronged, so you can just judge just like that, and you are not in the situation. I didn't mean you were in the same situation. Maybe you will do worse. So we should beware of blaming people. This is not to say that whenever someone commits offense, we should exonerate the person straight away. But then we should beware of blaming people unjustly. We try to put ourselves into their situation and see what will have been our reaction. I didn't mean we were in the same situation. Then that will give us an idea of how the person should be judged if we are to judge the person. Anyway, we are not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is Allah that is expected to judge, not we as human beings. And we are not even we are not the judges at the court that we are going to judge people. But because they judged the wife of Al-Aziz wrongly, then she also showed them that she should not be judged wrongly. So then immediately that happened.
قالت
She said to them, فَذَلِكُنَّ الَّذِي لُمْتُنَّنِي فِيهِ. That is exactly what you people were criticizing me about. That was exactly what you people were criticizing about. You kept criticizing me unknowingly, but now you have seen. Just one time you cut your fingers and you kept saying that this cannot be a human being. It must be a respected angel. What if you are seeing him every day? So what if? Then وَلَقَدْ رَوَتُهُ عَنْ نَفْسِي. Yes, indeed. I want him for myself. I seduced him against his wish. فَاسْتَعْصَمْ. But he refused. He did not give in to my request. So, but then, since you all know now, وَلَئِنْ لَمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا آمُرْهُ, if he refused to do what I am asking him to do, if he refused to do what I am commanding him to do, because it's a command, I'm giving him a command as the mistress. So if he refused to do that, he will be in prison. He will be in prison. He will definitely be in prison. There is no doubt about this. I promise. وَلَيَكُونًا مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ. And he will be from among, those people that are worthless. He will be among those people that are nothing. He will be humiliated completely if he refuses to do what I ask him to do. Since you all know, you can all see now. So if you are going to judge me now, you already know. But then, as you have known now, he has to do what I ask him to do. If he refuses to do, then he will be in prison. And in fact, he will be humiliated completely. So then, what happened? As a slave boy, the mistress is saying this authoritatively. What will he have done? What will he have done? He has only two options. One option is to give in to the request of the mistress, and the other option is to, go to the prison. So many of us, if we are in this kind of situation, what are we going to do? That's the question, the big question. If we are in this kind of situation, what are we going to do? I know myself. We all know ourselves. In this place, we are in this place. Sometimes we give ourselves fatwa that is not from any scholars about things that are prohibited, because we feel. But we are in Korea. Even if we don't want to eat this, what are we going to eat? What are you going to eat? Are there no other things? You try to give yourself a religious verdict just because you feel you can do, even when you have options. This is Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So if you compare your own situation, if I compare my own situation to his situation, maybe we think, since it's test from Allah, once I do, I am going to seek forgiveness. Maybe that will be our conclusion. Maybe that will be the conclusion of many. But then Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, because indeed he was among the chosen one by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so still he did not give in to what he was requested to do. So call, then he said, Rabb, oh my Lord, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that as-sijn, the prison, ahabbu ilayya, is more beloved to me, mimma yad'unani ilay, to what they are calling me to. Prison is more beloved to me to what my mistress is inviting me to do. I'm not going to, commit adultery with her. If the option is for me to go to prison rather than committing adultery, then I will choose to go to the prison. And in fact, وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفُ عَنِّي كَيْدَهُنْ, if you don't prevent me from their plots, أَصْبُ إِلَيْهِنْ, I'm going to tilt toward, their request. I'm going to give in to the request. I'm going to give in. وَأَكُونْ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ, then I will be from among the ignorant ones. a lot of lessons are here. Yusuf turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, praying to Allah, that Allah, I prefer to choose this option. Scholars will always, say that whenever we are in this kind of situation, that if maybe sometimes, if Adebisi Yusuf would have asked Allah to just save him from this,
And
perhaps Allah would have saved him, through other means. But because what was clear to him was that he had two options, either to give in or to go to prison. So he decided to choose to go to prison. Oh my Lord, I prefer to go to prison. Prison is more beloved to me than what she's calling me to do. So if you don't save me, from this plot, then it is possible that I will give in. So this is a prophet of Allah. That's another lesson. If you keep being in, the society of evil people, and you think you are pious, then your name is sorry, like I said yesterday. That's your name. Because little by little, before you know it, you still think that piousness is in you. But before you know it, you become the leader, the ring leader, they call it, right, of the evildoers. So if you want to maintain, if you want to protect your piousness, then your piety can only be protected by leaving the society of evil people. Don't sit with them. Don't get close to them. Don't think I am servant of Allah. I fear Allah. I can do whatever I can. No problem. I cannot be affected by their doing. You may be affected. You think to the extent to which we have worshipped Allah, to what extent? This is a prophet of Allah saying that, oh Allah, if you do not save me from their plot, I can give in. I will definitely give in. I will definitely give in. So you don't think on your own you have power to prevent something. It is only Allah that can prevent us from committing evil. So, and how? By taking to the injunctions of Allah. If Allah says don't do this, don't go close to it. Otherwise, if you go close to it, say I'm just passing time. Yeah, you pass time, and in fact, you pass time inside that evil. May Allah save us from evil. So, wa akun min al-jahilin, and I will be from among the ignorant ones. Was Yusuf actually ignorant?
No.
Because Allah gave him knowledge and wisdom. So he was not ignorant. So, but wa akun min al-jahilin here, that means jahil. When they say you are jahil, it does not necessarily mean that you do not know. When they say someone is an ignorant or you are a jahil, it does not necessarily mean that you are not knowledgeable. But the actual knowledge is not measured by what you have, in your head. It's not measured by the level of certificate that you're having, but it is measured by the level of practice. So when you have knowledge and you put the knowledge into practice, that is when you are referred to as a knowledgeable person. But if you have knowledge, but knowledge is going like this, you are going the other way around, then it's as useless as you being an ignorant person. So the knowledgeable person, actually, the one that is knowledgeable is the one that puts into practice the knowledge he has acquired. I was discussing with some brothers sometimes ago that sometimes when you find some paper and you mail the authors of the paper that please I need this about your paper, they tell you that that paper actually I did it some 7 years ago. I can't. They will try to just tell you that they can't help you in any situation, and it's the fact is some of them will even tell you that now I'm working in an industry. That means whatever knowledge they have acquired during that time, has been left behind. They are doing a different thing. So even their own work, they cannot, guide you on that again because it is not something they put into practice. But for the one that is working, every day on the same thing, if you even before you ask him, he's going to tell you. He's going to tell you. Then I was telling the brother that some of us, when we were in, when we were in 100 level or little before getting to universities, some of us can tell you that if you open new school chemistry to page 320, the first line is this, the second line is this, the third line is this. Some of us can tell you that new general mathematics, if you do this, this page is this page is this. But ask our professors now. Professor, if you ask Prof about new school chemistry now, maybe the only thing Prof can remember, as I mentioned, new chemistry now is Ababio. Prof, I'm not sure. New school physics. You know? New certificate physics. You know? You know? Or Lambert. You know? You know, as all these names have been mentioned now, I saw Prof shaking head. You know, but most of those things are gone now because because we are no longer using those things. So once you have a knowledge and the knowledge is not being put into practice, then you cannot be referred to as being knowledgeable. You'll be surprised that even after acquiring PhD, if a secondarian, I hope that's right, will give you, you know, an assignment, a problem that, please, can you help me with this? If care is not taken, some of us will try to dodge, you know, stylishly, you know, as if another elderly man is, you know, trying to dodge an approaching cow. You know, you try to dodge stylishly that this is a cow, be careful, and it's also dodging. So knowledge actually is measured by the level of practice. So what is meant here is, if I give in into the request, then I will have gone against the knowledge that I have. So, and once I go against the knowledge that I have, automatically I would have become an ignorant one. So may Allah not count us from among the ignorant ones. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered the prayer of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. His Lord answered his prayer, and Allah prevented him from the plots of you know, the women. So innahu huwa as-sami'ul alim, for Allah is all hearing. You know, Allah is all hearing, and is Allah's knowledge, you know, encompasses everything. Allah knows everything. So you and I might have been in a difficult situation. We might have been in a situation where there is no one that could have helped us. Why don't we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When we think there is no way, when we think there is no any other alternative for us, then Allah is always there. We turn to Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to answer our prayer, just the way He answered, you know, the prayer of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So it is only for us to be sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just like the sincerity of Nabiullah Yusuf. Once we are sincere, Allah will definitely answer our prayer. But if we are not sincere, then we pray, the prayer will not be accepted. And that is exactly what is happening in our nation today. When it comes to prayer, do we say people are not praying? People are praying. Like in the nation where we are here, are people actually praying? Maybe the foreigners are praying, and few among the citizens, you know, few among the residents. But then, is the prayer being accepted there? When the one that is praying is the same one that is the kingpin of the kidnappers, how will the prayer be accepted? How? When the one that is leading prayer is the same one, you know, that is cheating those people that are led, how will the prayer be accepted? Such prayer will not be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to be sincere. That's the first thing. We'll be sincere to Allah. Then we'll be sincere to our fellow, you know, men as well. Then we now pray to Allah. In fact, at that stage, even before we request, Allah will give us what we need. Because Allah knows about the situation. Allah's knowledge encompasses everything. So, ثُمَّ بَدَأَ لَهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا رَأَوْهُ الْآيَاتِ. So then it occurred to those people that, you know, are handling the situation, those people at the end of the affairs, it occurred to them even after they have seen clear signs that Yusuf was innocent, alayhi salatu wasalam. it occurred to them that that they should imprison Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So hatta for some time. Why? To save women. And in fact to save their city from the problem, that was happening as a result of the presence of Nabiullah Yusuf.
Allah.
This is a man. I want to interpret that, but I can see something is looking at me. They will say, let me not say. So with Yusuf with such a beauty, no woman will see him except that there will be problem. So every woman, whenever they see Yusuf, imagine those women, they cut their hands. And so the wife of the Aziz could not help the situation. She kept, seducing Yusuf.
Allah.
And, the news is everywhere. So it became a situation of, embarrassment in the city. And they thought like the best thing they could do is to imprison Yusuf. So once Yusuf is in prison, people will not have access to him. And at least there will be no such evil in the society again. Now the big question is, imprison Yusuf for what? For what offense? For what offense? For no reason. For no offense. For no offense. Imagine the test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lot of the time we say, why me? Why me? Why me? So let us ask now, why Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam? Imagine the first test. The first test by his brothers. What was his offense then? What was his offense? Please answer. I don't know. I'm asking. Based on what we have read, what was the offense?
He dreamed.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. So sometimes you don't think people will wrong you simply because you have done something wrong. You may not necessarily do something wrong, but some certain people will hate you no matter what. They will just hate you. They will just hate you just like that. And even some people, like we always say, also some people will just say, I just like this person. I just love this person for no reason. You might not have even met him before, but you just like him, just like that. Some people are just like that. So Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was in prison. This time again for no reason. The first time he was thrown into well for no reason. Now he was in prison for no reason. And that was not the end. But then, like I've always been repeating, whenever we are in difficult situation, so we should not just look at the difficult situation and think that is the end. We should always look at the positive aspect of the difficult situation. Yes, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam came from Palestine to Egypt unjustly, obviously, because he was thrown into well for no reason. He was taken out of the well. He was sold by those people that took him, and they got the prize, and he was taken to Egypt. Then the master started treating him nicely. He was put in a place, he had a residence. He was living there, enjoying himself. But then remember that he was there such that Allah blessed him with knowledge and wisdom. Now he was having knowledge, he was having wisdom. In the house of Al-Aziz where he was living, was he able to use the knowledge?
No.
Was he having access to people to use the knowledge?
No.
Now, if he was not taken out of that home, how will he have used that knowledge? That is exactly what is going to happen in the next section. So, whenever we are in difficult situation, we should not only look at the negative aspect of the difficult situation. That difficult situation is going to have some positive things, attached to it. So we should look at that. A lot of the time we hate something, but that is the best for us. A lot of the time we love something, but that is the worst for us. So it is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that knows. We do not know. Sometimes we pray to Allah, we want something, but Allah will say, no, it is not yet time. I'm not going to give you. Think, why? I tried all my possible best. Look at Dr. So. We came to this place at the same time. Yes, were you giving birth to at the same day? Even if you were giving birth to at the same day, were you giving birth to by the same mother?
Even if by the same mother, was it at the same time? Even if at the same time, did they name you, with the same names? Even if with the same names, are you 100% identical? How will you compare your situation with that of brother so? So even he came after me, then what? Then what? Then what? Just about 3 days ago, one of my friends was asking that he just wrote just a line, a very close friend, in my university days, that now PhD holder. Then I said, I said not yet. That was my response as well. Then he mentioned the name of one of our friends also, who happened to be, our junior in the university. That this so person is now, a doctor, and is your junior. He was the same set with that other person, so I was ahead of them at the time. He said that. Then I laughed. Then I also responded by saying there are so many people that happen to be my seniors as well, and in fact they have not even gotten MSc up to now, let alone even starting their PhD. So what will they do? So many people, we went to primary school together. They were not having opportunity of going to secondary school. So many people, we went to secondary school together. They were not having opportunity of going to the universities. And that does not determine their success. The fact that I'm saying that they were not having opportunity that does not determine their success. There was a time I went home, then I was in Kaduna. I went home for, Eid, and I was going to another a nearby city. So I think there was a problem. I was going with my family, I think. So at a place where, we have to transfer from one bus to another. So for those that knows Osun State nicely, Konta, I'm sure Prince will know. So I was there. Then when the person, I discovered that someone was just looking at me. He was just staring at me. Then I was also trying to, I was also trying to look at, because I discovered he was looking at me. I was also trying to look at him, like I know this person somewhere. He was also thinking the same. Then my wife was like, what's happening? I said, it's as if I know this person somewhere. He said, how will you know this Baba? I said, no, this person that I'm saying is not Baba. That was the statement then. I said, this person I'm saying is not Baba. It's not Baba. So then I think he came to me and he said, Afa Yaqeen. I could not even recall the name. So, but later, I realized the person it was. We, we attended the same secondary school, and in fact, at the time, he was not even among the serious ones, like some serious guys then. So he was always among some guys. He was not even having opportunity to go to university. But then, when as a result of the meeting, we were introducing ourselves. He was standing by a jeep. There was one guy that was trying to change the tire. So he said, that is my driver. Then I also said, I also pointed to my wife, and this is my wife, and my daughter. That's my wife, and that's my daughter. And at the time, I already graduated from the university with my certificate. So that does not mean that he was, more successful than me. But then, the fact that he did not attend a university does not mean that he is not going to succeed in life. But what we are saying is, we should not compare our situation with that of others. Everyone is having his unique life to live. We have unique life to live. And when we start comparing situation, like we said the other time, that is the beginning. That is the beginning of problem. That will be the beginning of problem. We start beefing people if we are comparing our situation with them. If we decide not to compare our situation with that of others, there will be nothing like beefing. There will be nothing like beefing. Once you are comparing your situation with that of another person, you will not even appreciate the blessings of Allah in that person. So you think Allah is blessing, and you think that blessing is worthless because you compare your situation with him. Do you even know what he has passed through? Do you know what he has passed through? Is there anyone from among us that if they ask, he will not be able to narrate? Is there anyone that will not be able to narrate? Only that our narrations will be in different directions. So why do you have to kill yourself because of another person? When you have your life to live, he has his life to live. Don't compare your situation with another person. Don't beef another person. Whatever Allah has done for you, that is your own. And whatever Allah has done to another person, that is that person's own. So you don't need to compare. So Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, he was in the home, of the Aziz there. As if he was in a seclusion in that place. So he was not having access to people. He could not use the knowledge that Allah has given him there. Or while he was in the house of, the Aziz, what was the use of the knowledge that we heard about it based on what we have read now? And we remember, what was the knowledge Allah blessed him with? That has been mentioned twice. The knowledge of what? Interpretation of dream. Interpretation of dream. Initially, when he dreamt, that was what the father told him, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him, knowledge of interpretation of dream. Allah himself now reiterated the same thing in one of the verses we have read. So, but then, has he been able to use it? No. Now, in the prison, that is now the testing ground. That is the place where, that is a place of practice, where Yusuf is going to utilize, the dream now. I mean, the knowledge he has acquired. So, and that is the beginning of the new section. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and that is the life of Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam in prison now. So the theme of this new section will be life of Nabiullah Yusuf in prison. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I think we'll just take the first verse today. So, and the other subsequently. Allah said, وَدَخَلَ مَعَهُ السِّجْنَ فَتَيَانِ. Now,
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ودخل معه السجن فتيان قال أحدهما إني أراني أعصر خمرا فقال الآخر إني أراني أحمل فوق رأسي خبزا تأكل الطير منه نبئنا بتأويله إنا نراك من المحسنين.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَدَخَلَ مَعَهُ السِّجْنَ فَتَيَانِ. So two young men, were admitted into the prison together with Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So scholars will always say that this indicates those two guys, entered into the prison at the same time that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, entered into the prison. So of course, there are a lot of people in the prison, but because their situations are not so important to us, so Allah is only giving us, the part of the story that is important. So those two guys entered into the prison with Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So qala ahaduhuma. So one of them said to Nabiullah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam that inni arani a'siru khamra, that I saw myself pressing wine. That is, I dreamt, and in my dream I saw myself, pressing fruits, maybe date, what is it called? Grape or date or something, to extract wine from that. That's what I saw myself doing in my dream. وَقَالَ الْآخَرُ, and the second one said, إِنِّي أَرَانِي, that I saw myself, I also dreamt, and I saw myself, أَحْمِلُ فَوْقَ رَأْسِي خُبْزًا, that I am carrying bread on my head. So تأكل الطير منه, and not just that I was carrying bread on my head, but then I saw birds feeding on the breads I was carrying on my head. So نبئنا بتأويله, so inform us the interpretation of our dreams. Interpret our dreams to us. Inna lanaraka minal muhsinin, for we see you from among the good ones. We see you from among the excellent ones. So please interpret our dreams to us. So these two guys, scholars say they are from among the the servants of the